As financial markets become more globally integrated, it is perhaps not surprising that events in one country can have a considerable impact on others. Through decades of financial integration, the Canadian market is particularly prone, we think, to the influence from its southern near neighbours, with a sizable proportion of market participants being US-based brokers and traders. We were surprised by some of what we found, however, and thought this sufficiently interesting to create a small case study. Every year on the fourth Thursday of November, the United States celebrates Thanksgiving. As Thanksgiving is both a national holiday and a stock market holiday, US-based trading, investment and brokerage firms largely shut down, while Canadian markets and market participants remain fully operational. With a large number of stocks cross-listed on both US and Canadian markets and investors trading across both marketplaces, the US-based holiday may have a large impact on trading in the Canadian marketplace. So we're going to see. Using the market quality dashboard, we analyse the impact that this regular holiday has upon Canadian market quality, specifically focusing on cross-listed securities. We begin our analysis by selecting the Groups tab and selecting the group of cross-listed securities that has been previously prepared. This group consists of all Canadian listed equities that are cross-listed with US markets. These groups are fully customisable by the user, and it is easy to define your own groups by clicking through the Manage Groups button. Now, beginning with Thanksgiving of 2011, which fell on November 24th, we select a time period 2 months either side of this date. We then select the trade volume measure, and immediately you can see that there is a considerable drop in the traded volume of cross-listed securities across all 6 Canadian venues on the 24th of November, US Thanksgiving. To ensure that this is not a one-off case, we took a look at the effect on volume for the previous years. Changing the dates for Thanksgiving to 2012, which fell on November 22nd, once again we see the same drop in volume across the Canadian market. Such drops in trade volume are consistent with the idea that there are significantly fewer market participants in the Canadian markets on these dates. With a consistent drop in trade volume established, we turn now to look at the impact on market efficiency. Using effective spread as a proxy for transactions cost, we can see that there was a considerable spike up in spreads coinciding with Thanksgiving, particularly for the smaller venues of TMX Select and Omega. By turning off the other smaller venues, we can see that the main Canadian market, the TSX, is similarly affected. It is therefore clear that the drop in trade volume is associated with a market-wide increase in transactions costs. Such an increase is what one might expect from a loss of US-based liquidity providers. To examine the other element of market efficiency, namely price discovery, we used price impact as a proxy. While there was a substantial drop in price impact for the 2 smaller venues of TMX Select and Omega, the 3 larger venues of TSX, Chi-X and Alpha appear largely unaffected. As we saw earlier, the transactions costs for TMX Select and Omega were also significantly more affected. Overall, it is clear that the absence of US-based market participants has a significant negative impact on Canadian market efficiency. By switching to the Global Markets tab and bringing up other markets like the TSX, ASX and LSE venues, we can see that the US Thanksgiving spike found in the Canadian market is not found in these other global markets. Such a finding confirms that the TSX has a much higher level of US-based participants compared to those of other markets. With a significant drop in trade volume and market efficiency, it is clear that US Thanksgiving has had a profound impact upon the Canadian market, significantly increasing transactions costs for participants and likely providing a free lunch for liquidity suppliers willing to trade on this day.